Good morning, everyone. Thank you. My name is Margie Anderson. I am the Superintendent of Administration at the Metropolitan Sewer District and the coordinator of the Student Intern Academy. I want to welcome each of you to the 9th annual graduation program for the students this year. We are so proud of their growth and development. We know that you are proud of them as well. Each of you have a program in your seat. The ceremony will follow along as the program is written. So sit back, relax, enjoy yourself, celebrate with us. And with that being said, I would like for each of you to stand as we receive the students for the Student Intern Academy. Heading the group are our students in the gold-colored polos. Those are the students that have been in this program for 3 consecutive years. Following are the students in the olive-colored polos. Those are the students that have been here for 2 consecutive years. Following that group are the students in the white polo shirts. These are the students that have participated in the program for the first year. All of these students have worked at various locations throughout the city, various city departments, other businesses that are our private partners. They have all completed professional development training. They are all the next generation workforce. They are all the 21st century leaders. They are all our graduating students of the Student Intern Academy. We are so proud of their accomplishments this year. They have done many presentations. They have shown us their growth. They have made us very proud. They have also informed us that they are very thankful and grateful for this opportunity, and we are just as thankful that we could give them this opportunity. So with that being said, we want you to welcome all of the students for the Student Intern Academy. You may be seated. Our MC for today is Mr. James A. Parrott. He is the Executive Director of the Metropolitan Sewer District. He is also the visionary and the founder of this program. So although myself and other committee members, we work and we make sure that things are taken care of in the program, but it's all under Mr. Parrott's direction, his guidance, his support, his leadership. We couldn't do it without him. So without further ado, and much more welcome, I introduce to some and present to others, Mr. Tony Parrott.
Good morning. Students, we have guests in our house, so how do we recognize our guests? Thank you so much, and thank you everyone to be here this morning. It's truly an honor that this program has sustained itself. This is the 9th consecutive year that we've been able to host it. Our initial year, we had about 15 students. It was a pilot program, but over the years it has grown, and we have seen over 400 students come through this program. And so we're very proud of that. I am also proud because I know later on in the program we have some students that were former members of the program that are going to give you some comments, and I'm just so excited and elated for you to hear them as well. When we began this program, it was really the vision of looking at the water resources area and the utilities, water and wastewater and stormwater, and looking at our aging infrastructure, but also our aging workforce. And so it was a part of our succession strategy to be able to expose young high school students to a career path in water resources management. 30 years ago, when I began my career, I got introduced to water and wastewater because of a program like this. And so a lot of times as you go through your career path, you ever heard the phrase that God's trying to tell you something? Well, when I had the opportunity to go through an intern program, and when I had the opportunity to actually begin working at a utility, I was walking down the street. Minding my own business, and I ran into an individual who used to be a mentor in the youth program that I participated in, just as you are. And that mentor said, I want you to come work for me. And when I did that, that opened up a whole new world for me. Again, God was trying to tell me something. After getting into the career, I had the opportunity to learn a lot about water, wastewater, and had the opportunity to elevate and learn and grow and get promoted throughout the utility. And then one day, I had a director of a utility say, hey, I'm going to be leaving. I want you to be the next director. Again, God was trying to tell me something. And when I had the opportunity to come to Cincinnati, I had the opportunity also to be told that I want you to be the director of MSD. Again, God was trying to tell me something. And as I stand before you now, and you talk about where am I going with all of this, is that you have had an opportunity to be exposed to career paths, whether it be in water treatment, wastewater treatment, biology, administration, engineering, IT, collections, human resources, all sorts of career paths that if you are really paying attention, God's trying to tell you something. So you have an opportunity here that can be a seed, that can be a career path, or at least give you something in terms of knowledge and skills that as you move on, whether it be in your work life, your technical school life, your college life, you have been exposed to mentors who really care about you. And I am just so proud of all the mentors that have been a part of this program. We will recognize them, but I just can't wait. If you were a mentor in this program, could you stand, please, and be recognized at this point? Thank you so much. As you go through this program and you move on into your next chapter, we hope that some of you find your way back to us. And in fact, we do have some that have found their way back to us. And that's part of the whole succession strategy that I mentioned earlier that is so valuable and why we do what we do. And I would hope that, all of us, whether it be myself, existing staff, existing policymakers, as the next chapter evolves, that folks will recognize the value that's been added to you. Because this is all about you. It's all about giving you exposure, giving you an opportunity, and to let you know that within your family, within your schools, and within the Metropolitan Sewer District, people care about you, people love you, and there's not a darn thing you can do about that but accept it. So this partnership began with the Cincinnati Public Schools, and we're just so grateful that they've allowed us to launch this program in partnership with Cincinnati Public Schools, working with then Superintendent Blackwell, and then also Superintendent Ronan, and the program has just grown from there. As I said, the initial year was 15 years, 15 people in the program. We've seen the numbers get up to 90 or so. I think this year we're at 60 or 70. So it's been a very successful program, and we've grown it to also bring in other schools outside of Cincinnati Public Schools, other parochial schools, and other schools throughout Hamilton County. So it's a program that I believe we've established the blueprint for success, the blueprint for continuation, if that's what folks want to continue to do. But at least you've seen that when you give back to the central core of our community, which, by the way, is the youth of our community, you are opening up an opportunity for folks to get knowledge. You're opening up an opportunity for us to help what I call destroy the perpetual cycle of destruction. Because without education, without opportunities, folks can get off track, and we have to help. That's our role as leaders, and it would be unfortunate as a leader that if we did not give back to the youth of our community. And so I would hope that you recognize how valuable this program is for you, and I hope those of you that have been 3 years, 2 years, that you have given something back to those that have come into the first year. And like I said, there's some folks that have been through this program before that you're going to hear from and you're going to be blown away from. So look up to those folks as well. This is a program that I think in partnership with not only Cincinnati Public Schools, but we've grown it working with Greater Cincinnati Waterworks. We've also grown it by working with other city departments. We've had students that have been embedded in the health department. We have had students that have been embedded in the HR department and in the law department. So as you can see, you know, it's a seed that has spread, and it's a seed that is bearing fruit. And so we're so proud of that. And, you know, when we talk about, you know, the benefits and the value, I think that you really don't recognize it yet, especially the first year students. But I can tell you, because I'm a living testament to what that seed can be over a career path. And so we encourage you to take what you've learned into this program and to make sure that you don't forget, and to make sure that you walk every day with courage and pride, because God's trying to tell you something. And when God's trying to tell you something, you got to have the courage and the pride to walk through the door or the gate that is open for you. So I am so proud of you, and I'm really proud to really recognize some of the former students that have been a part of this program. And even some students that are, I think three of the four are here, right? Okay. The first student is Jade Johnson. Jade was a student intern in 2013, assigned to water distribution at Greater Cincinnati Waterworks, and in 2014 she was accepted into the program again, assigned to work with a business partner. She currently attends Howard University and has returned to MSD as a college co-op working in the MSD Administration Division. Please welcome Jade Johnson.
Good morning. I am Jade Johnson, a continuing sophomore at Howard University, where I'm studying to become a licensed physician's assistant. So as Mr. Parrott mentioned, I've been a part of the program for 2 years. In 2013, I worked underneath Steve Predmore at the distribution division of Greater Cincinnati Waterworks. And during my time there, I was kind of taught the difference between wastewater treatment and clean water treatment, because in 2013, they weren't one company. They were two separate companies. So I was taught the difference of what MSD did and what Waterworks did. I was also taught how to pinpoint and locate water main breaks, and I was in charge of making an actual route for our workers to go out and fix those water mains. During my second year, I worked for a private consulting agency called Resolve It, which is located downtown in the Centennial 2 office, where I worked underneath Jeff Bush, who was our primary consultant agent. And what the company did basically was they used resume finding tools like Monster, LinkedIn, and Dice to find candidates that fit a certain job description. And so what we did was we brought those candidates in for an interview, and if they fit the job description, we would critique their resumes, give them mock interviews to get them ready to interview for bigger companies like GE, Procter & Gamble, Great America, and other big firms that we are very familiar with. Now I am currently interning for the Superintendent Margie Anderson of the Metropolitan Sewer District. And here I've learned things that will actually help me during my time in college. As I said, I'm a continuing sophomore, and me personally, I thought I was very proficient and like an expert at Microsoft Office, and they would give me certain tasks to complete on my own, and it kind of opened my eyes, wow, I'm not as much of an expert as I thought I was. And it gave me the opportunity to be able to learn more and be able to gain more knowledge and use that I'll be able to use while I am away at college. Being a part of this internship, as I said, I was in it for 2 years. We had what we call is Professional Fridays, which is directed by Mr. Lewis and his team at Make and Plain Consultants. And what they did was they taught us how to present ourselves in professional settings such as this. They taught us the difference between business casual and business professional. They taught us how to be able to personally brand ourselves and make ourselves presentable in certain business settings. They also taught us things like how to public speak, and for me, I graduated from the School for Creative and Performing Arts, so I was never shy. I was always used to speaking and performing in front of people, but they helped to perfect my craft. So I can honestly say, as I've watched myself grow as a young professional, this program has had a lot to do with it. So I want to extend my appreciation to everyone who has a part of contributing to the SIA program and making it what it is. And as far as you, the students, I know I've talked to you one-on-one before, but I want to wish you all the best, especially for the ones that are entering college. I commend you. I wish you all the best. I hope that you all stay focused and remember what I said, save your money. But for the ones that are continuing high school, I encourage you to continue to stick with the program, because as a co-op, I still talk to my mentor that I had in 2013. Make sure you keep those relationships strong, because you never know who you might need, or you never know who might offer you a job opportunity, like how Mr. Parrott said. So I wish you all the best. I thank you, MSD, for giving me this opportunity, and thank you.
Our next student is Mr. Craig Kaiser. In 2013, Craig was assigned to MSD, and in 2014, he was accepted into the program again to work with a business partner. You've heard the term business partner. We have business partners as well outside of city organizations that have been gracious enough to allow students to come work in the private sector, whether it be engineering companies or construction companies. And so those business partners we will recognize later as well. This year, Craig accepted a great opportunity to work with Mr. Tommy Lewis at Make It Plain Consulting, assisting with the SIA training. Please welcome Craig Kaiser.
so I might hold this. Good morning, everyone. It's a great morning to be celebrating another graduating class of the Student Intern Academy, and I'm very thankful and privileged to be here. Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Thank you, Mr. Parrott, for giving me this opportunity. I am Craig Kaiser, a two-time graduate of the Student Intern Academy, 2013 and 2014. I am a graduate of Clark Montessori High School, and I am a rising freshman at the University of Dayton, where I'll be studying engineering in the fall. Many of the students know me. I have been working for Mr. Lewis this summer. I've been down at the program, the Professional Fridays, helping out. I really felt that the program changed me for the better, absolutely. And like Mr. Parrott was saying earlier, I absolutely felt like I owed something back to the program, and I have been thrilled to be around the program in the past couple of years. I want to take this opportunity to kind of share with the students in particular 3 of the biggest lessons I guess I've learned from the Student Intern Academy. The first would be to value the professional relationships you developed this summer. So you all had a mentor. That network has been so crucial for me. As you know, I'm working with Mr. Lewis now. I developed a positive relationship, and I had that opportunity to develop that positive relationship with the Make It Plain team, and it absolutely is changing the course of my life as we go. Speaking of opportunities, that brings me to my second lesson, and that is to not let any doors close on you. As a young adult in the Student Intern Academy, you are presented with so many opportunities, as you know. The challenge then becomes taking advantage of those opportunities, so not letting those doors close. And again, we have to congratulate every one of you for not letting this first big door close and making it to graduation. Again, congratulations. Finally, my third lesson would be the first lesson I learned on the first day. I'm looking at Miss Monday because this lesson is to be about your business. Miss Monday told me that the first day of my first professional development day, and it has absolutely stuck with me, and is just to be about your business. At the end of the day, you're going to bed and you have one person to live with, and that's yourself. And so my advice is, when you go to sleep, you want to be able to say, I have done everything I can do today to make myself better and to be about my business. So I hope you can accomplish that. In review, value your professional relationships, don't let the doors close on you, and to be about your business. That's my 2 cents this morning. Thank you so much.
Our next student is a graduate of the, 2008, 2009 intern program, Mr. Charles Graves IV. Mr. Graves started in 2008, and he was assigned to the Office of Director, working under the mentorship of Jack Rennekamp, at which time he narrated and assisted with the production of a video making a significant difference, it was called, in water quality and the environment. It's showing on the monitor in the back of the auditorium, and I think we've even seen some of his work as a part of other projects. In 2009, he returned as a co-op to work on a rain barrel project, and in 2010, he returned as a co-op student. Please help me welcome Charles Graves IV.
Thank you all so much. It is such a joy to be able to come back here and to share a couple of words with you. As Mr. Parrott mentioned, I'm, I guess, what you would call one of the older interns at the ripe old age of 25. As I think back those 7 years or so since I was in your shoes, I thought when I got a letter in the mail from Ms. Anderson inviting me to come back, I was literally, folks, jumping up and down, thrilled with the opportunity, because I love this program and I love the work that Ms. Anderson has done, and I'm just so grateful to be here. A little bit about myself. Now, after I completed the program, as Mr. Parrott said, I did 2 years here at MSD and then 1 year elsewhere in the city. I went to and graduated from Hampton University with my bachelor's degree, and just earlier this year I completed my master's degree in theology from Yale University Divinity School. Now, starting next month, I've got a little bit of an exciting undertaking. I'm actually moving to Italy to begin a ministry with refugees, largely North African refugees and immigrants in the heart of the old city of Rome. And as soon as I'll be there at least a year or two, and I'll come back and be ordained into ministry as a priest in the church. So, I'm so thankful for the experience and the opportunities that I've had from MSD that really set me along that path. A few lessons I learned at MSD that have carried with me. As Mr. Parrott mentioned, I worked on a video promoting, actually I did 2 videos. The first promoting MSD and what we do, and the second about promoting rain barrels. And that just taught me how to, not just how to create videos, although that came of use, and I still use that pretty often, but it taught me how to promote. It taught me how to tell the story of an organization that I'm working for. It taught me how to be enthusiastic and to invite people in. And it taught me a lot about government. I worked for a while in city government and worked on political campaigns and did all sorts of things. And so that ability to just tell the message of the organization that I'm working for is so important, and it will be so important to each of you in whatever journeys you undertake. And the last lesson that I learned was just how to work as a member of a team, and how to work. This is my first job, my first experience of working a job that I had. And so it just taught me how to work in that sort of professional, collegial environment. And so I'm so thankful for that. A couple of quick lessons that I have for you. Stay focused. Stay focused, stay focused, stay focused. If there's one important thing, keep your eyes on your goals, keep your eyes on your long-term mission. Don't allow yourselves to get distracted. Don't allow people to tell you that you can't do this, you ought not to do this. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not good enough or big enough or proud enough or important enough or special enough or anything enough, because you are. You are. And the second and final major lesson that I have for you is just to pay attention. Listen to yourselves, listen to your heart, listen to where you feel the churning of your passion, of your soul driving you. Wherever that is, go there, follow that. Don't let anything else tell you otherwise. Thank you, and blessings to you all.
Obviously, God was trying to tell him something. Thank you, students, for your sharing your testimony. It makes us so proud that you were a part of us. I want to ask a few folks to be recognized at this point, and if you could remain standing until we get through it, and then we'll have some applause. I want to recognize the Student Intern Academy Committee, folks that work behind the scenes and do a lot of work every day to make this event possible today, and also everything possible as it relates to dealing with partnership with the schools and all of that, and dealing with the mentors and getting this program all together. So if you're part of the Student Intern Academy Committee, could you please stand? Also, if you are a mentor, again, as we recognized earlier, if you could stand as well. And if you can, if you were a business partner, someone that worked with us, whether you're an engineering company or a construction company or any other private partner to the program, if you could stand. And if you are a part of the administration of water or MSD, or if you're a part of the advisory board for Project Rebuild, please stand. Thank you all for your help and your support with the program. Without you, it would not be successful, and we appreciate that. Thank you. I want to ask also someone who's been a major part of our team in pulling this program off with the Professional Development Fridays, Mr. Tommy Lewis, to stand with Make It Plain Consulting. I can tell you that this program went to the next level when we stand up, Tommy. I'm not through praising you yet. This program went to the next level when we partnered with Mr. Tommy Lewis and ultimately his team with Make It Plain Consulting. And you students know better than anybody the value that he brings to you on Fridays. And I can tell you that the people and the curriculum and everything that he brings is just invaluable. I mean, you just can't find it anywhere. And if anybody is interested in knowing more about what he does, obviously they can reach out and talk to Mr. Lewis. But as part of his team, also, if you could stand, Miss Pitty Monday and the rest of the team that's a part of his team, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. At this time, we want to introduce the student speaker for this class. And am I supposed to do that? Miss Candace Clark, if you'd come up.
Good morning, Mr. Parrott, SI committee members, fellow interns, mentors, honorary guests, SIA partners, family, and friends. I am Candace Clark, a third-year intern with SIA, a Walnut Hills High School alumna, and soon-to-be University of Cincinnati freshman majoring in communications. Thank you. I am honored to stand here today on behalf of all of my fellow interns and tell you just how the Student Intern Academy has impacted our professional development. After interning under 3 different city departments, Greater Cincinnati Water Works, Metropolitan Sewer District, and the newly instated Department of Economic Inclusion, I can say that I have developed a deep sense of the inner workings of the city of Cincinnati, a knowledge that I cannot imagine gaining anywhere else. SI has thrusted me and my fellow interns out of our comfort zones and into the root of the business world. Many of our peers outside of the program can say they have the knowledge, to take them to the next level, but very few can say they have the experience. Knowledge plus experience is power. We interns have the knowledge. Every Friday, we have attended professional development sessions conducted by Mr. Lewis, Miss Penny Monday, Miss Shawnee Smith-Pierre, Miss Johanna Johnson, Mr. Jeff Schlager, and Miss Yulia Oglesby at Make It Plain Consulting. During these sessions, we have been taught emotional intelligence, how to work in a team of people who may not think in a similar fashion, cultural diversity, how to work in a team of people who may not be from similar backgrounds, dining etiquette, how to prepare a formal place setting, passing both the salt and the pepper at the same time, placing your napkin in your lap, and then placing it on the back of your chair when you need to get up from the table but you're not quite finished eating. We have been taught how to think outside the box, to be ready to give quick solutions to real problems. We have even learned how to manage our earnings and budget by financial expert Al Riddick. We have the knowledge, but we also have the experience. All summer, we have been scouted all over the city. MSD, GCWW, Parks, HR, ETS, to name a few, as well as several private partners. Many of us have sat in on business meetings and have seen decisions being made in real time. Some of us have planted flowers and other shrubbery, contributing to our community's beauty. We have developed network pipelines, working to develop positive professional relationships with our mentors and other department members. We have the knowledge and the experience, and now we have the power to give back what we have gained, using what we have learned to fill in the holes of the retiring workforce and impact not only our city, but our nation. I have never heard of a program in the nation outside of SIA that does what SIA does. We are positive examples that young people with little knowledge and a little education can be powerful tools that a city can be proud of. I want to sincerely thank Mr. Parrott for creating this program. You have no idea how much you have impacted all of us. And I know you're leaving soon, but really it has done so much for me, so thank you so much. And also the committee members, they work so hard, they're behind the scenes, but they work so hard to make sure that we have an enjoyable summer, that we enjoy all our field trips and everything, so thank you so much. And I want to thank you all for coming today. I know you all have taken off work, but thank you so much for taking the time out to come and recognize us. Thank you.
Thank you, Candace. That was really special. Every year we try to bring to you a keynote speaker that can leave a mark in your brain. Leave a mark in your brain because of how great those individuals are and what they've accomplished in their career. And I can tell you that this year we have a great keynote speaker for you. Today's speaker is former Ohio State Senator, Mr. Eric Kearney. I have had the opportunity to engage with Mr. Kearney for several years. And I can tell you that in his involvement in state politics, whenever there was something that we needed or something that we needed him to work on for us, he was always available and he was always willing to try to do what he could do to help us. We've also had the opportunity through other programs, whether it be working through community sustainability and how the use of green infrastructure and other programs have benefited certain areas, such as in Avondale and Bond Hill and other projects that we're doing. Mr. Kearney was involved with those discussions as well. I can tell you that he's been a mentor to me just watching him do what he does. And also the fact that, when you think about, the Cincinnati Herald and other things and other projects that he and his family are associated with, it's just positive stuff that is necessary in our community, positive stuff that is necessary for you as youth to understand the value that is created. And so I am so honored when we asked him to come speak to you today that he accepted our invitation. So on your feet and help me welcome former state senator, Mr. Eric Kearney.
Oh, thank you very much. That was a great introduction. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's a little bit bittersweet, isn't it? Because this is a wonderful celebration of your accomplishments this summer, but also this is Mr. Parrott's final year as directing the program and being in charge of MSD. He's off to bigger and better things in Louisville, and certainly I think maybe we should take a moment and recognize all that he's done, and wish him the best certainly going forward. You can judge somebody who does great things by the legacy that they leave, and you are part of that legacy, and that's something great. Yeah, stand up. Also, you can tell how impactful a program is by some of the people that are in an audience. So I used to be an elected official. I used to be a politician. And so you always look for who's here, right? So you have people like Loretta Danish, right, who drove here all the way from Columbus, Ohio, to be here today. And I think that speaks volumes. Now, she's a high-powered lawyer, lobbyist, that type of person in Columbus, and she drove all the way down here to watch you graduate. Loretta can hide all she wants to. She could throw up her hand, but she's not doing that. But no, I honestly, in all seriousness, she's a friend of mine, but that speaks volumes that she drove down here. Obviously, Pastor O'Neill, that you're here, Regina Hutchins, Mrs. Stark, and Teresa Stark, and all the other people that are here. It speaks volumes about the importance of this program. So, believe it or not, at one point in time, I used to be your age. And when I was your age, I participated in a program that was very similar to this one, except that it was at the Environmental Protection Agency. Now, we didn't have anybody like Miss Anderson to kind of organize everything and get everything straight, right? We just had some folks. We learned about we learned a little bit about water. We learned more about pollution. We learned about soil leaching, pollution leaching through soil. That was the project that I worked on. And God was definitely telling me something during that summer that I should not be in science. That was a very important thing. So I thought to myself today, what would Eric, who is 51 years old right now, tell Eric, who was in that program? What were the lessons that I've learned in those years that I would that I think are important to share? And so that's really going to be the focus of my talk. So I'm not going to be as dynamic or energetic as Candace, but I really think it's important that these are lessons that I learned, and frankly, I'm just going to be brutally honest about some of the things that have happened to me. So one thing I would say is be active in your time. And what I mean by that is recognize what the important issues are of your day. It could be the terrible thing that happened to Mr. DuBose a few days ago. Those civil rights or civil justice issues could be the issue of your time. For me, at the earlier part of my life, it was about entrepreneurship and being a part of, like for instance, I I was the third African American to become a partner at one of the large downtown firms in Cincinnati. That's pretty remarkable when you think about it, because I'm not that old. I know I seem very old to you, but to say that somebody became a partner in a law firm in Cincinnati, and you can still see that they're active, is pretty remarkable. And then the other thing was trying to elect the first black president of the United States, and that was something that took up a great deal of my time, and I was really proud, Rodney, to have worked on that. How I got involved was one day I was trying to buy a business, and I had just come back from a business meeting with a banker that didn't go very well. He didn't like my bow tie, I think. And no, he didn't really like my loan application. And so I was really in a bad state, because I thought, how am I going to feed my family, and what am I going to do here next? And I was coming back home, and I bought a copy of the New York Times before I got on the bus to go home. And in that article, in the newspaper, there was an article about a young man who was a state senator in Illinois, who was running for the U.S. Senate. And the problem with that was he was facing a self-financed millionaire in the Democratic primary, and then he had a Republican billionaire in the general election that he would have to beat in order to become the U.S. Senator. And so I was impressed by his message, and I came home when I got home, and I threw the newspaper article on the table, and I said to my wife, Jan Michelle, we should help this guy. And she looked at the picture that was associated with the article, and she goes, oh, you mean Barack? And I said, you know this guy? And she goes, yeah, you know him too. I said, I don't know anybody with a crazy name like Barack. And she said, sure, we went to his wedding in Chicago, don't you remember? I went to law school with him. And I said, oh, okay, now I remember it, right? It didn't come to me right away. And I said, we've got to do something for him. And so that led us to try and raise money for him. We brought him here to Cincinnati and to Ohio for the first time he'd ever been here. And then we were very influential in his campaign. So be active in your time. Be active in the issue that is of gravitas when you get older. Also, the second thing I would say is invest in yourself. And you've heard that theme from other speakers, but that means investing in your education, investing your time in what's important to you, your job or your profession. I remember when I graduated from this Ivy League institution, and I thought I was pretty hot stuff, but I didn't have a job. Right? So I ended up going out on Tri-County. There was this company called Leslie Fay, and they made women's sweaters, tops. Some of the women are nodding their heads, so you know what I'm talking about. And I worked in their warehouse, and I loaded boxes, and I did orders, and I drove what are those trucks that help me out? Forklift. I drove a forklift. And I was the only person in the plant, including the manager, who had a college degree, and I was the only one, trust me, that had graduated from an Ivy League school. And so I remember calling my cousin saying, man, I need some help here. What should I do? And he said to me, Eric, you've always talked about going to law school. You should do it now. I wanted to go to law school, but right when I got out of school, he got a young lady pregnant. They ended up living together, trying to make a life for themselves. That didn't work out. He had to take care of his family, and he said, I never got to go to law school. Well, that led me to go to law school. So I would encourage you to invest in yourself, and going to law school was a great experience for me. The third thing that I would say is, on the positive side, is to think big. Really expand yourself. Think about your biggest goals. I remember when I was in college, they had a bunch of people who were going on all these foreign trips. They would go to various places like Europe and Africa and China and everything like that. And I thought, boy, that would be great to do something like that. But I didn't have the means to do it. But I thought to myself, how can I do it? So there was one black dean at my college, and I went into his office one day unannounced, and I sat in the lobby for about 2 hours because he had meetings. I didn't know you were supposed to call beforehand, right? So see, if I'd been in this program, if the program I was in was as good as yours, I'd know you call beforehand, make an appointment. I just showed up at his office. I was like, he works here, right? So I sat there for 2 hours, and I explained to him, I said, I hear about my classmates going on these trips, study abroad opportunities. How do I do that? And he said, well, this is what we're going to do. And he held my hand and guided me through the process. And taking a trip to Europe from the neighborhood that I kind of grew up in and the circumstances under which I grew up in is something that I never thought would ever happen. And that was a beautiful experience for me. And I think in a lot of ways expanded my life and expanded my horizons. So I encourage you to think big. Now, on the negative side, I've made some bad choices, and I would give my younger self some advice about some bad things that I did. One would be choose your friends wisely. I've had a couple of experiences in my life where I've had business partners or other associates who were not really very upfront, forthright people. And I'm not making judgment about their lifestyles or the decisions that they made, but their decisions impacted me, and I was brought down because I associated with them. So I would encourage you to choose your friends or your associates wisely. Also, I would listen better. I had a number of older people who would take me aside and they would say to me, Eric, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, and they would try and guide me. And I was too busy, I don't know what I was too busy doing, but I was too busy to listen. I should have been a better listener. So I wish I had listened to those who were older and certainly wiser than myself. And then the third thing I would say is to take more risk. I would be very bold I wish I were bolder when I was younger. That means try new things, do new things, think larger, and do everything that you possibly can, and don't put any boundaries on yourself. And so I wish I had taken more risk as a younger person. I'm going to close with a quote, and it's a little bit of a difficult quote, so I want you to listen to it carefully, but it's written by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And Ralph Waldo Emerson was a writer, an essayist, a poet, and also an abolitionist. He was opposed to slavery. In the 1800s, he was a mentor to Henry David Thoreau, and Thoreau was an inspiration to Gandhi and to Martin Luther King. So that has a direct connection. His writings are a direct connection to Martin Luther King and many of the ways that we protest. So for instance, yesterday, after the verdict was reached with Mr. DuBose, what did people do? They had they were civil disobedient. They assembled quietly like that. That's a theory. That's an approach that Emerson and Thoreau developed that we still use today. So some people don't know that, but we do. So Ralph Waldo Emerson is someone who I love to read. I like him so much, and Candace, you may know this, that I named my daughter Emerson. Yeah, some of you are grousing like, oh no, you really didn't do that. No, I did. She goes by Celeste. You can ask Regina. She'll tell you her name is Emerson, but she goes by Celeste, her middle name. But this is the quote, and it's from the first paragraph of his essay Nature. So if you want to go look it up afterwards, you can do that. And all you have to do is read one paragraph. Our age is retrospective. It builds the sepulchres of the fathers. It writes biographies, histories, and criticism. The foregoing generations beheld God and nature face to face, we through their eyes. Why should not we also enjoy an original relation to the universe? Why should not we have a poetry and philosophy of insight and not of tradition, and a religion by revelation to us and not the history of theirs? embossed for a season in nature whose floods of life stream around and through us and invite us by the powers they supply to action proportioned to nature. Why should we grope among the dry bones of the past or put the living generation into masquerade out of its faded wardrobe? The sun shines today also. There is more wool and flax in the fields. There are new lands, new men, new women, new thoughts. Let us demand our own works and laws and worship. I wish you all the best, all of God's blessing, and Godspeed.
Senator Kearney, you will always be Senator Kearney to me. On behalf of the students and the Academy, we want to give you this as a token of our appreciation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Make me look good, Don. Oh, go over here. Okay. Thank you.
You know, when we work with the schools and we receive applications for the Student Intern Academy, it is a process that is really, laid out with certain criteria for evaluating and screening and culling and pulling down the selection of the students that you see sitting before you. And I want you all to know, especially the parents, that it is a very competitive process. And the students that are in this program are really, from our perspective, the creme de la creme. And as you can see by some of our former students, we have the creme de la creme. And so we are happy, very happy, that you have joined us for this program. And I think we're at that part in the program when are we supposed to graduate them or something like that? I'm sorry? So, we're just supposed to stand up? Okay. I'm sorry, I was confused. There's no hats this year. That's why I was confused. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 2015 SIA graduates for Cincinnati. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. As I began this whole thing, I made the statement that, God's trying to tell you something. The fact that you are completing 8 weeks of a very special program and been exposed to special people, special mentors, special folks like Mr. Tommy Lewis. The fact that you are sitting in this chair today, the fact that you have your parents, the fact that you have your teachers, the fact that you have your schools, and the fact that you have opportunities that are placed before you, and God's trying to tell you something. So, as we end this program today, and as we think about what you've learned, I hope that you've learned that, as I think somebody said earlier, one of the student speakers, don't let anybody tell you what you cannot do. You know yourself, believe in yourself, have value in yourself, and if you do that, you will be successful. And the other thing I will tell you is the recipe for success, 75% of it is showing up. If you show up every day, you're going to be successful. And if you apply your skills on top of showing up, you're going to be outstanding. But you got to show up. You got to be there. So you have to make a decision at some point in your life, as somebody said, stay focused, show up, apply yourself, extend your horizons, think big, be courageous, because one day, when you least expect it, there's going to be a door or a gate or an opportunity that just opens up in front of you, and you got to be ready to walk through it. And because God's trying to tell you something. So congratulations, and thank you all, parents, teachers, students, mentors, private partners, everybody that makes this program so successful. Thank you so much for what you do for these students, and let's eat, correct? Thank you. So rise, you have your certificates, and I think we're supposed to march, right? Man.
Thank you all so much for coming. This concludes the program. At this time, we will ask all of our students to file out first, and your families will follow. Thank you so much. We have refreshments for everyone. You'll be served in the kitchen area. Please stay with us for refreshments.